Welcome to True Scary Stories with Christopher, where true horror comes to life. In today's episode, we uncover the chilling real story of Natasha. What if the comfort of your own home turned into a gateway for spirits who refuse to rest? In this episode of True Scary Story, Natasha shares the haunting events that transform her family's peaceful life into a nightmare. Strange apparitions, eerie encounters, and chilling warnings made it clear something or someone was desperately trying to make itself known. As the mystery unravels, the truth behind this restless spirit will leave you questioning the safety of your own surroundings. Get ready for a story that will grip you until the very end, because some spirits never leave. Dare to listen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and sharing story with your friends for more real horror stories. Let's get started. Do you know of someone with a real-life terrifying story? I'm looking for spine-chilling experiences told in English for our channel's True Scary Stories with Christopher. And if you or someone you know has a haunting tale to share, I want to hear it. My contact information is on every single episode. You can reach me via email, Instagram, or through our Facebook page. And if you want to hear just how dark these stories can get, find our show called True Scary Stories with Christopher. My name is Natasha, and this is my story. It all started in 2019. I was living with my mom and stepdad at the time in their house. Me and my mom, we were going through a period where we were kind of just lost with our religion and spirituality. We had always been spiritual, but at this time we both just felt a disconnect from everything. That's when everything started to manifest. The first incident was with one of my friends. We were on the porch one night talking about how the summer had started, how we had just graduated. All of a sudden, we hear someone walking out the front door, so we look up. We see my mom. We assume she's taking out the garbage or doing something in the garden or something like that. We go back to talking, and not even a minute later, we hear the front door open again. We see my mom. We were looking at each other in disbelief. She asks, "What's wrong?" We almost scream at her like, "How did you get out here so fast? What happened?" She kept denying and be like, "No, I was not out here. I was inside. I was in the kitchen." We just ignored it. Maybe it was just our eyes or our minds playing a trick on us. 4 days later, my friend was over again. This time we were in my room. I was on my phone, not really paying attention, but I was listening to what she was saying. All of a sudden, she went silent. I look up quickly. She has this mortified look on her face. I ask her, "What's wrong? What happened?" She's sitting on the foot of the bed, looking at the edge, and she won't say anything. I finally look to see where she's looking at. I see a dent. Someone was putting pressure on the bed or sitting on the bed. I was confused. Two weird things have happened this week. That night, everyone had gone to sleep. My friend had left. It was probably around 1:32. I was thirsty, so I went downstairs to go fill up my water bottle. It was my bedroom, the bathroom, and the bathroom was facing the bottom of the stairs. I walked 2 steps to the stairs. I'm about to walk down. I see this lady at the bottom of the stairs. She's 6 foot maybe even taller. She took up most of the wall. She had dark hair and she had this white dress. It had frills at the bottom and a short sleeve. I ran back into my room, closed the door. The next morning, I bring it up to my mom and I tell her, there's something going on in our house. I don't know what's going on. She brushes it off. She's like, no, it's just our ancestors. Don't worry, you'll be fine. In my gut, I knew that wasn't the situation. A few days later, after my mom and I talk about this and she brushes me off, it's maybe 2:30, closer to 3 this time. I'm downstairs in the kitchen. Our kitchen was attached to a hallway that led to the front door. I was in the kitchen and something was just telling me to look behind me. I look and I see the woman from a couple nights ago. I turn away quickly, look back, and she's gone. I was cooking something and I left it all on the stove. I ran upstairs. I was terrified. The next morning, my mom's like, what happened? You left everything downstairs. Something's going on. And I'm like, I told you, like something's in the house. She says, if something was here, I would be able to see it. Or I'd be able to feel it. There's nothing here. Trust me. It's just one of our ancestors. They're protecting us. I know it's something else, but she won't listen, so I just try and forget about it again. One night, it was 3:30, 4 a.m. I heard someone walking past my room. My parents, they're both not the type of people who would leave their room at night. Like they'd only really go to the bathroom. They wouldn't go downstairs for water or anything. Something just told me to go check on what it was. So I walk out my room. I see my mom walking down the stairs. In a quiet voice, I start saying, Mom. I call her name 5 or 6 times. As I'm doing that, I'm walking down the stairs trying to get closer to her. When I am one step away from her, about to touch her, she turns around. I see her eyes. That's not my mom. The eyes were like sunken in. You could tell it had no soul. I sprint up the stairs back to my room. I don't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I'm so spooked. I finally tell my mom, you may not believe me, but something is in this house. We need to do something. She's like, we can go see someone. They'll talk to us. My stepdad, he was friends with this man who was a babalao, a priest of this religion called Aruba. We go to this man's house. He starts to do the consultation. My mom starts screaming and crying, wailing, screaming at the top of her lungs. I look beside her. She's pale. She's screaming. Her hair is in front of her face. I don't know what's going on. I leave the room. I can hear her screaming from outside. 15 minutes later, she finally stops. The babalao tells me to come back in the room. He starts explaining to us what happened. My mom, she let something into the house. This year, she was a woman who had committed suicide. She was depressed after losing her child in the house. He starts to ask my mom, can you think of something that you may have gotten, like from a thrift store? Something that may have history. She remembers that she was cleaning the basement and something was drawing her to the back corner. There was this desk, was really heavy. Behind it, there was this door. In it, there was a bunch of heirlooms from the original owners and their family. All their stuff was in this cubby. When my mom went in that room, she found this lamp or vase kind of thing. She took it out and she put it in our living room. The babalao, he realized that lamp is what brought this woman to our house. As soon as that lamp came in our house, all these things started happening. My mom's energy completely changed. She went from being so energized always wanting to sleep and always being so tired and so negative. She wasn't sleeping either. She was staying up until 3:30 every morning. Even my stepdad thought she was acting weird. He said that her personality had completely changed. The Babalawo, he tells us, I know what to do. I know how to get her back to the lamp. He does some things in our basement, some religious sacrifice or something. He eventually bounds her back to this lamp vase. That night, we threw it in the graveyard because he said that would be best. Just as a precaution to make sure it's away from our house. That night was the last time we ever saw or heard from that spirit again. It wasn't the only time my mom had invited something in, never on purpose. In a house before this house, when my mom and my dad first got divorced, she had got this spirit board that she used with a pendulum. First, she started talking to people who she thought was her spiritual guides, guardian angels. They were telling her things she wanted to hear. We'll be here to protect you. You'll have more luck in love. We'll make sure to protect your daughter. Your daughter's going somewhere in the future. My mom, she was obsessed with it. Every day, she was doing it. Over time, the messages just started getting super negative. One day they told her, we're gonna kill you. We're gonna burn the house down. We're gonna kill your daughter. We're gonna burn her in her sleep. At this time, my mom and I, we were getting into accidents. I was hit by a car. She had almost been hit by multiple cars. Dogs were attacking her out of nowhere. One time, our neighbor's dog, he was on a leash attached to the porch, and he just ripped out of it, and he ran across the street, jumped on her, and attacked her. Multiple dogs were doing that at the time, and we didn't really know what was going on. All we knew was that my mom was getting these messages, and it was dangerous. She decided to go back to Portugal, where she's from, to get advice from her family. She went to a medium there. She looked in her eyes and she said, where is your soul? Your soul is at the back of you. Your soul is supposed to be in front of you. It's at the back of you. There's so much darkness around you. It's gonna harm you. And my mom, at this point, she goes to see another person just to make sure to validate. The lady says the same thing. There's so much darkness around you. What did you do? Did someone do something to you? My mom finally comes back. We move in with one of my friends and his dad. My mom just had to get me out of that house. She was terrified that something bad was going to happen. During all this period too, I was having bad dreams. I was seeing dreams with blood on the wall. I had started having suicidal thoughts. And I was 10 at the time, so I wasn't even thinking of any of that at that age. And I just suddenly started having these thoughts. When my mom and I moved to my friend's house, she started using the spirit board again. His wife had died. She had also committed suicide. Once she was using the spirit board, the wife was telling her, like, if you don't get out of my house, I'm gonna burn the house down. At this point, my mom's like, we have nowhere to go. We have to move. We move in with my now stepdad for a few days. We're looking for a place, and my mom goes to the last medium she goes to before we move out. They tell her, you have opened the portal. You, using that spirit board, open the portal, and you let something in that's trying to harm you. And my mom realized that she had messed up. That week, we packed our bags, moved to a new house. My mom kept in touch with the lady who lived upstairs, who was our landlord. The man who lived there after us, he lived there for maybe 2 weeks. and he apparently went crazy, packed his bags, and left. Even the lady had to move out. No one could live there after that. My mom had let something in, but it had attached itself to the place after. She has completely stopped doing that. The religion we are in now doesn't really focus on that. We don't really talk to spirits in that way. She hasn't done anything like that for the past couple of years, thankfully. Everything's calmed down. If you or anyone you know has a story to share in English, let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and sharing story with your friends for more real horror stories. Keep it scary, everyone. See you soon.